Hello everyone. In this video we're going to look at cloud service models. So let's go ahead and jump into the material. There are three basic cloud service models that we're going to look at. Infrastructure as a service, IaaS, platform as a service, PaaS, and software as a service. These service models are a way to generalize and bundle cloud services together that have certain commonalities. So let's go ahead and look at the details of each one of these models. The first model we're going to look at is Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS. With Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS, it's a way to provision virtualized resources over the internet. And some examples of that are server, network resources, and storage. And an example service of that is Amazon AWS's Elastic Cloud Compute, or EC2. So with infrastructure as a service, you're really finding a way to virtualize resources that you have in your on-premise data center. So those things that require configuration and setup and purchase, things like servers and hardware. The idea is with IaaS that you can get these resources virtually and you can get them quickly with no upfront charge. And so that's a big advantage of this kind of services. You don't have to order services or pay some kind of premium to get started with the service. You can provision a resource for free and then you only pay by the amount that you're utilizing that resource. So for a server, the typical charge is by the hour, although most providers now actually charge by the second. So it's a very granular way and you only pay for what you use. So that's really infrastructure as a service, and it's primarily hardware related. So if you think of anything in a data center, the network within that data center, the servers and storage, all of those things are IaaS and they're hardware related. So let's go ahead and look at our next service. So the next service model that we're going to look at is Platform as a Service, or PaaS. With Platform as a Service, or PaaS, it allows customers to build and deploy applications without the complexity of building physical infrastructure and configuring software. So this really provides a bunch of advantages. The one major one is that the vendor handles all the software updates and maintenance. So you don't really have to worry about patching or putting in new emergency fixes to those things. The vendor is responsible for all that. And also it's a simplified licensing model. You just pay from the selection of whatever service you're buying off of a menu and a price schedule, and that's it. You don't have to have the complexity of buying a separate software license, installing it on a server, making sure you have a key for that license, and all of those things are up to date. All of that is automated with Platform as a Service. And the example is Azure Cosmos DB, but there's a number of database services that really fill the model as Platform as a Service. Microsoft Azure offers SQL in the cloud, and it really is a simplified model. You can just look at the type of SQL instance that you're buying in the cloud. You pay again by the hour or by the minute or by the number of cores in the processor. It's a very simple model, and you just pay a monthly bill for the service. So that's really Platform as a Service. And again, the big advantage there is you don't have to worry about hosting the infrastructure and installing software on hardware. If you typically had your own SQL Server instance, you would have to buy a server, you would have to install software, and then have patches that periodically come in from Microsoft and update it. With Platform as a Service, all that goes away. So that is Platform as a Service. Let's go ahead and look at our next model. The last model that we'll look at is Software as a Service, or SaaS. Software as a Service allows an organization to consume an entire hosted application over the internet or private network, and it provides a lot of benefits. Again, you don't have to install software. The vendor provides all of the updates and simplified licensing. So it's really a application that's kind of soup to nuts from beginning to end, and they provide everything. You really only need a web browser to access the service. And some examples of those are Office 365. So instead of installing Office on individual workstations, you can consume Word and PowerPoint and Excel directly from the cloud. So all of those things will run completely in a browser. Another example would be Salesforce.com. So Salesforce automation and customer relationship management, all of that is provided in a package, and you don't have to do anything as far as installation. Now you can customize these packages as well to a certain extent. Salesforce, you certainly can, but you're better off to try to use those things kind of out of the box and follow the kind of the best in practice services that they offer. And one more example of that is ServiceNow, which is a ticketing and service management package. So that's software as a service, and this business is growing dramatically. Salesforce has had tremendous growth over the last few years. So that's software as a service. Let's go ahead and look at the summary and wrap this lesson up. In summary, we've looked at three major service models: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. There are also other service models that are out, and more coming really every day as more and more services are introduced to the cloud. But data as a service, or DaaS, disaster recovery as a service, and that's one of the huge advantages of cloud computing. It's very straightforward and cost effective to build a disaster recovery site. If something happens to your main data center, you can certainly build a backup easily in the cloud and very cost effective manner. And then anything as a service, XaaS, which is kind of a catch-all. Well, that's really it for this lesson. We went over the major service models for cloud computing and some examples of each one of those. That's it for this lesson. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for your interest in this video. If you like the material, please click the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more material like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. That's it for now. Thanks again. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.